Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to review my RIMOWA suitcase and yeah, let's get into the video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Marlene and I do videos and vlogs about luxury fashion, handbags and shoes. So if that's something you like, please consider subscribing to my channel and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. So for today's video, I'm going to review my RIMOWA suitcase. I bought it in last year, I think it was in June, and since that I have traveled a lot with it, so I think I have a good picture about the suitcase, what works and what doesn't work that good. So yeah, I have the suitcase in the Essential series, and the reason why I chose the Essential was because I wanted it to be lightweight and it is lighter than the Heritage suitcase, which also does matter if you only travel with one suitcase and you don't want to pay overweight, because then you can get more items with you with the Essential than for example with the Heritage one. Even though I really love the Heritage, I think they look very cool. I also kinda like that they look a little bit worn after a while, because it is the original one that was first made and I really like the idea and I think they look very cool. And another reason why I also like the Heritage one is because it has this clasp mechanism to lock the suitcase, which I prefer over the zipper, but I'm going to talk more about that later. But first of all, we are going to talk about the outside of the suitcase. And yeah, let's get into the review. So the suitcase that I have is the large size in the Essential. I have it in matte black because I think the shiny one will look a little bit more dirtier over time than the matte one, but I could be wrong. So over to the suitcase. The suitcase that I have retails currently now for $1,125 US, which is quite expensive for a suitcase. However, when that is said, I don't plan to switch my suitcases that often. I got one when I think I was 12. And I have had it since I was 12 until now, and the suitcase is completely fine. The reason why I don't use it is because it is in pink and it is not me, but the suitcase is fully functional and it isn't something wrong with it. That suitcase has kind of the same design as this one, but a little bit different because it has that clasp mechanism where you lock it, compared to this one who has a zipper. And the suitcase that I had was in a very hard material, so that was the one that I had before, and now I changed to the RIMOWA one, and I think I never will look back. So over to the outside of the suitcase, it has this kind of lightweight plastic material. I don't know what it is called, but it is plastic. It isn't the thickest material, but it is quite durable because I have traveled a lot with it. And when I first got it, I was a little bit afraid of the material because, as you might know, they are not careful with the suitcase at all at the airport. And I was a little bit afraid of the corners, for example, cracking because of the ground handling. So here is the weight of the suitcase and also the measurements. It isn't the heaviest suitcase at all. Here is the measurements compared to the Heritage one. So as you can see, it is a little bit heavier, and for that reason I chose the Essential over the Heritage, because you can fit a lot more inside the Essential. And RIMOWA also has this size guide. With this specific suitcase, they say that this suitcase is going to hold 10 outfits and it is going to be enough for 14 to 15 days on travel. So it's quite big and it can fit a lot. But the real game changer for me was how easy it was to stroll. The wheels are just so incredible. It almost strolls at itself, and that makes the whole trip a lot more easier. Everywhere I go, it is just so easy to stroll, even on cobblestones, and that's so amazing, because the one that I had before was just so hard to stroll on cobblestones and everything. Even if it wasn't uneven at all inside, for example, the airport, it was hard to stroll it. But this one, it is just like a dream. It makes everything easy and I really enjoy that. I was a little bit curious to see how the suitcase strolls with a lot of weight, and I can say that the weight doesn't impact the strolling at all, which is very good, because some suitcases can stroll good when they are not packed, but terrible with a lot of weight. But this one just do the work for you. It is just so easy. I really love this suitcase. And also the shape of the suitcase is very good because it can fit in a lot of different cars, because with some suitcases it can be a little bit difficult to manage to fit them inside the trunk, but this one fits in basically every trunk, which is also very good. And I also really love the design. The design is very classic. It has this classic RIMOWA look with the lines and everything. I think this one isn't going to be like the pink one that I have, because the pink one, it is not classic and it isn't me anymore. But with the black one, I think I can never grow out of it in that way. And also, as I said, it is very durable. I have traveled a lot with it and it has gotten a lot of scratches and dirt on it, but it is a suitcase. Every suitcase in the whole world will get scratches and dirt on it because the way that they are handled in the airport. So that's not something that's special with RIMOWA suitcases, because it happens to every single suitcase. And as I also told you guys, I was a little bit afraid of the corners because the material isn't the thickest one, and I was a little bit afraid of the corners cracking, but I can say that it doesn't have any cracking or anything like that, just some scratches, and I can totally live with that. Also, another thing to mention is that the suitcase has this telescopic handle, which is very practical because you can adjust it for your needs. For example, when I have my book tote on it, I can easily just adjust it higher, and when I don't have my book tote on it, I can adjust it to be a little bit shorter. I think that's something that every suitcase has, that you can adjust the handle, but I think the RIMOWA suitcase has a little bit more settings than, for example, the other one that I had, because now I can basically place it wherever I want it to be. But with the one that I had before, I think it had 4 settings or something like that, or 3, and I think that's also a good feature about the suitcase. The suitcase also has a secure lock where you put the 2 zippers and lock it. It is also very good to have a locking mechanism in your suitcase. I know that some of the suitcases doesn't come with it, but the one that I had before also had a locking mechanism, and I feel it is very safe, because when you are afraid of your things and traveling with a lot of things, it helps to lock it. And also, if you have a need to lock the suitcase, for example, if you place it at a baggage room at a hotel, it is very good to have the opportunity to lock it. I think that's very practical. I would never leave my suitcase without locking it. And over to the zipper. The zipper is very easy to close. I've also tried to close it when I overpacked it, and the zipper closed very easily. So that is very good, because I think I have overpacked my suitcase every time I have traveled with it, and that says a lot about the space in the suitcase, because you can easily fit a lot more than the flights allowed you to. So I also had to pay overweight many times because of that, but in the end I got all the things that I wanted in my suitcase, and it isn't the suitcase fault that I bring a lot with me, especially when I'm traveling abroad. I really want to have everything with me, and for me it doesn't cover 14 or 15 days because I have a lot of stuff with me. I'm a chronicle overpacker and I always overpack when I have the space to do it. So over to the inside, as I said, it fits a lot, and also a reason why I think it fits surprisingly much is because of the shape and the way it looks inside, because some suitcases has the wheel system inside them. This one also has that, but it doesn't take that much space as with, for example, others, and that's very good because then it makes it easier to pack. The 2 sides are identical, I think, and also another game changer here is that it has dividers, and the dividers are so perfect because now when you open the suitcase it doesn't fall out. And some suitcases, especially that one that I had before, was with only, I think it was some straps that you could attach, but if you had smaller items it would fall. But with these dividers it is a lot more secure, and also a plus with the dividers is that the content in the suitcase is a lot more secure. For example, if you have perfume or something that's very fragile, it is very secure because you can adjust the dividers. So if you have a little bit more space you can adjust it so it will be tightly squeezed into the suitcase and not loose, and that's also very practical. The dividers also has 2 zipper pockets. I don't use them, but you could could use them for smaller items, socks, anything like that. And that's also very practical because then you have a system where, for example, your socks are. I don't use that personally. And also another good feature about the dividers is that you can take them fully out. You don't need to have them. And that's also very practical because when you are packing, you don't need to think about them. You could just put them aside. Also, another thing that I really love about this suitcase is that it has lining. Some suitcases doesn't have that. My old one doesn't, and it feels a lot better to place your clothes inside a suitcase with lining than without, so I really like that too. And I think that was basically it for the inside. Now we are moving on to the parts that isn't that positive. So first of all, as I have mentioned, it will get scratched, it will get some marks and dirt on it. It is just a suitcase, and as long as it does its job, I'm happy with that. And also something that I also have mentioned is the price. The price is a little bit high, and I think it is a little bit expensive. It is a lot to use on a suitcase, so if you have the possibility to use that much on a suitcase, I would say go for it, but it is a lot of money in the end. But I think this is a suitcase that will last me forever. RIMOWA also has this guarantee where it is lifetime guarantee on their products. So if something happens, they will fix it if it is normally used. So that says a lot about the quality of the suitcase. And also a thing that I would like to mention is that the luggage tag which comes with the suitcase, mine broke actually when I was in Oslo last time. I don't know if it's because of the way that it was handled at the airport or if it was bad quality or maybe both, but my luggage tag just ripped off. This one is completely fine, so I just have to get another strap for it and then it's completely fine. But it is kind of annoying. Now I have to get another strap for it before I travel next time because I want a luggage tag on it. When I traveled home again from Oslo, I didn't have that one on because of the incident. It was a little bit difficult to see if the suitcase was actually mine or if it was someone else, because there are quite a few people with RIMOWA suitcases and they look very alike. So yeah, that was also something that I would like to mention. It isn't something about the suitcase itself, but the luggage tag does come with the suitcase, and I also chose to personalize it, and that's also something that you could do with RIMOWA suitcases. You can personalize them for your needs. I also think that you could personalize them on the outside. I didn't do that, I just went with the basic, but I think you can choose colors on the wheels, on the handles and anything like that. So that's also a very cool feature about the suitcases. And also something that I am a little bit afraid of is that the suitcase has a zipper closure. As I mentioned earlier, the one that I had before was with this kind of clasps, and the Heritage one also has this kind of clasps, and they are a little bit harder to open than, for example, a zipper. With a zipper you can easily open it. Even if the zipper is locked, you can easily open it, and that's also something that I am a little bit afraid of when it comes to this suitcase. However, I doesn't have any of my expensive things inside my check-in. I always have them in my hand luggage, because in that way it is a little bit safer, because then I know exactly where the things are and they are protected. And also something that I mentioned earlier is that I always have overweight when it comes to this suitcase, and that's because I tend to overpack it. Every time I just go crazy, because now I feel that I have a lot of space than I did with my last suitcase, and this one I just bring everything that I could possibly need and way more than that. So that's also something that isn't as positive, because you can fit a lot more. With the suitcase that I had before, I think I never had overweight with it because it was the perfect size. There wasn't anything that you could put in it to be overweight, but that's also something that is a little bit annoying, because if there was anything that you couldn't fit inside the suitcase, you had to place them another place. But with the RIMOWA suitcase, I always have space for everything I want to put in the check-in. So yeah, that was basically the pros and the cons about this suitcase. So this is from future me. I will just pop in here and give you a kindly reminder of the giveaway that I am having on my channel, because I reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So be sure to check that out as well, because I'm going to link that in the description box. You can win an Hermes item. So be sure to enter a giveaway before it closes. It closes 1st of March, and yeah. Back to the video. And now let's move on to my thoughts. And I think it isn't a surprise that I really love this suitcase. It has really changed my travel habits. It is just so easy to bring my check-in everywhere now. And of course I want a lot more of RIMOWA suitcases. I really want a cabin suitcase from RIMOWA, because the ones that we have is harder to stroll than the big check-in RIMOWA suitcase, and that says a lot about how good the wheels are, because on the cabin suitcases they aren't nearly as heavy as the check-in. So yeah, I think I never will buy anything else than RIMOWA suitcases, because it is just so good, and for me it is worth every dollar. It is just so good. I would never get rid of my RIMOWA suitcase, and I love it so much. If it got lost or if something happened to it, I would rebuy it in a second. It is no doubt that I would do that, because I really love it. So yeah, that was my review of my RIMOWA suitcase. I hope you guys enjoyed, and also let me know in the comments what are your thoughts about the RIMOWA suitcase. Are they worth it? Do you have one? Let me know in the comments. I'm very curious to hear that. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you're not done watching me yet, here is another video, and goodbye.